Well, Wendy, thank you so much for helping with my project. I was wondering if you could say a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Wendy Jones, and I have three boys, my husband, and we live here in the Woodlands right now. Um, and I guess that's about it. What-
But COVID kind of the COVID lockdown started a very interesting time in your life.
Right. So
You're
I was actually on life support in Denver, Colorado. I went up there for some reason I kept thinking I was in Oklahoma. I don't know why. But crazy things happen when you're on life support and they give you so much meds that I have vivid dreams of things that are crazy that in my mind are true, but I know aren't true. That my youngest son got pygmy goats. I don't know why. But of course he did not. He did not. And I thought for some reason I was in the hospital covering for somebody, like, but then I was like, why would you be covering for somebody and beyond? Anyway, it was just all nuts. And I didn't know. I went in pre-pandemic and came out during the pandemic. So I thought no one loved me because no one would come visit me. And I didn't realize that they couldn't, or I was told several times, multiple times, what was going on and why they couldn't, but I never remembered what they kept telling me. So Harry worked diligent because of the pandemic. He was able to work from up in Denver, and then they just got me strong enough to be able to make it home in May. I think it was the middle of May that I finally got home. So, and I've just been working diligently ever since then. Still use a walker. Um, but I'm doing better and better, and I'm still here. So that's really good.
and the reason your life was support had nothing to do with COVID. It was completely
Right.
unrelated to the
So
pandemic.
supposedly. Yeah. So I mean, I've had probably about 15 COVID tests. I did get both the shots recently. But so every procedure, everything they do, I was in a COVID-free facility for my live-in rehab. But because I was on the brink of the pandemic, they didn't really test for it. Harry actually had to get on the news in Denver and plead my case to try to get them to get a result. So when they finally did get a result, it was negative. But until then, I had been in with all the COVID patients on life support, and because we didn't know who had COVID and who didn't. Uh, but so I was separated out because they said I had ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome, but it mimics and looks a lot like COVID. Um, but it's a very high risk. You're not supposed to recover from it. So I'm lucky to be here.
Well, I'm glad you are, and you were mentioning that this experience made you really think about a lot of things that we don't think about, like end of life type of issues and
Right.
what the kind of what pain is bearable. I mean, obviously, you went through a lot of pain and uncertainty during this, but based upon how you've recovered, it definitely seems worth it, right?
It was worth it. Yeah, for sure. For sure it was worth it. I mean, I don't know if anything's worth it, but um yeah, it makes you think about a lot of things. It makes you think about what choices you have to make in life about loved ones, and be it spouses, parents, children, and just, I think no matter what, nobody's ever ready for having to deal with end of life issues, no matter how much you think you are,
Yeah,
even if you're given a lot of time. So,
nobody here thinks they're ready for it. So
no.
at least we're past that point. But I mean, we talked about parents who have their children on life support for multiple years, and like at what time do you go?
When do you say it's enough? It's a hard, the very hard question to answer, and uh, very independent, or very, what's the word? Self, whatever. It's whatever you see it as your decision. Nobody else can have any idea, but you still will never know if you're right.
But there's a lot of people that tell you if you are or not.
Right. Oh yes. Yeah. No, I'll let you know. Right. I've had lots of, you should try this. You should try this. You should. I'm like, okay, okay, okay.
I heard one time the worst vice is advice.
Yes. Oh, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. That is good. That's funny.
But
So,
I mean, yeah, in addition to rethinking sort of like the decisions of end of life issues, I mean, did you come out of that experience thinking, there's these things I really want to do, and we don't have forever, and were you like more motivated to do certain things? I mean, like, how did you,
well,
anything like that?
yeah, yeah, because I'm very, I mean, I'm very limited on things, but um you end up figuring out, how can I do that, or how can I accomplish it? How, it might be different. It might be different than the way somebody else does it, but it doesn't make it wrong, or that it's not okay. Um uh it's yeah, a lot of times what I want to do is I want to be like the old me, and I want to do things the same as everybody else. And that's when I end up getting in trouble. Meaning, that's when I've walked, like, just to walk to the end of the street is too much, or the end of the cul-de-sac is too, and it's stupid. Why do I have to try to do that when if I need to get the exercise and I need to do that, then go ahead and use my walker, or use my service dog. A lot of times I have to use the walker because I need to sit, and I can't sit on my dog. But um and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Probably some of the worst of it is when if people think I'm drunk. um I don't like that. But I kind of do look drunk if I'm trying to do it without anything. But if I have a dog or a walker with me, nobody questions or says anything. So, I had one time somebody um, look at that woman, she's drunk. And I'm looking around going, oh my God, who's drunk? Wait a minute.
Where is she? Oh, yeah,
Why is she? Oh,
it's me.
I was like, I am not drunk.
However, that reminds me of a joke I've been looking for somebody to share with. Um, so it's not how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get up. The
Right.
cop says, that's not how the sobriety test works.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's It's, Harry's like, if you ever get stopped by the police, just start screaming, I'm not drunk. Surprise, please, breathalyzer.
Take some blood. Take some blood.
Please, anything. No test, no test.
Uh,
Anyway, yeah.
But I mean, like, did you have any desire to like maybe go visit a place that you've been thinking about for a long time, or maybe go
Um,
do something that you've been always dreaming of, or something like that?
no, I haven't because of COVID didn't really allow you to do anything. But I will say that when I was in the hospital, I felt very safe and very protected because we were in the live-in rehab facility that I ended up in was a COVID-free facility. So I was like, so I did feel this protection. And then when I got out, yeah, I was pretty scared uh, for a little while, and then something kind of overcomes you where it was like, okay, well, I just survived the most extraordinary thing. And if God wants to take me out with COVID after all I've been through, then so be it. But I don't think that's the plan. So, I mean, I'm very careful. Like I said, I got the COVID shots. Um, Not that I agree wholeheartedly with it, uh, but I did it, and I'm glad. I'm happy that I did. Um, but it makes you change your outlook on the things that you do want to do, or that if something comes up and I want to go do it, I'm going to go do it because I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to say, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to try this because, first of all, I don't want to miss out on anything anymore. Um, and I'll go ahead and try and do what I can. Uh, if there's repercussions, it's like I went back to Colorado for Easter. Um, and they said, my pulmonologist, I only have lost like 20%, what's it called? Function, functionality of my lungs with the arts. So I had asked him, can I ever go to Denver again? And he just said, that's the $1,000,000 question. So, but he said, it's like, don't be afraid to, but do it responsibly, meaning take your oxygenation pulse meters with you, see where you're at. Don't think, oh, I'm just not feeling good or something like that. Bring your oxygen, do due diligence in order to do what you want to do. So don't live in a bubble. Of course, everybody says I should live in a bubble.
Well, I think people who are living in a bubble are actually getting out more than the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I would have thought personal spacesuits would be quite the
I
vogue.
know, right? It
Yeah,
would. Yeah. And actually I'm happy that masks are cool because I don't want anybody else's germs, period. I don't care if it's COVID or a cold or the flu or strep throat or I, I don't want it.
I know. I mean, what kind of reduction have we seen in those things as a result of people
And the
wearing
other
masks?
things, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And washing their hands.
I always had hesitancy about wearing the mask. I was like, oh, I look kind of goofy. This is weird. I was in the UK last February and I saw a sign where like not this past February, but 2020.
Right,
Right
right.
as the
As was everything was hitting.
exactly. And there's this corner side store that was saying, "Come get your mask," and stuff. I was like, "God, they're like really capitalizing on this COVID thing." And then I came back here, in the spring break, the lockdowns hadn't started yet. The rodeo was still going on, right? And we saw
Yeah.
people wearing masks in the store, like, oh yeah, that's taking a little bit extreme. But after a year, it's like, oh yeah, mask, sure, why not?
Right, right. They're a fashion statement now.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you need
I mean,
matching mask for your shoes and your purse or wallet. Kind of
so
different.
so tell me about the moon thing because I'm really interested.
Well, so NASA's planning to send people back to the moon in 2024 for the first time since the last people were in the moon in 1972.
Yeah.
And they're planning to, in the past 10 years, we discovered that there's water ice frozen in the craters of the
Hmm.
near the poles where there's these
Hmm.
permanently shadowed areas. So potentially that's a really useful resource. It could allow for you to refuel rocket ships and satellites and other
Oh,
things using that water. You can break it down into hydrogen and oxygen, and then the moon's kind of interesting thing to study anyway because meteors are constantly hitting the Earth, but most of them burn up in the atmosphere. The ones that don't land in the oceans, the ones that land on land, you don't see any
but those
evidence.
are from the moon.
No, they're from all sorts of places. But the
Okay.
neat
Okay.
thing is that the moon is traveling through the same volume of space as the Earth. So
Hmm.
a proportion of those same meteors have been hitting the moon. And since the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, doesn't have weather, essentially it's a pristine record of millions of years of bombardments.
Ah,
And
that's
also,
cool.
rare earth metals are actually from asteroids, meteors hitting the Earth. So a lot of these rare earth metals might actually be in an abundant supply on the moon.
Hmm. Hmm.
So anyway, so they're planning to send people back to the moon, and a lot of it comes down to how you see the future of humanity. Was humanity meant to die on the Earth and go with the Earth, or were we only supposed to truly explore this one little bitty micro speck in the universe, or is the domain of humanity really the entire universe? And I I'm just kind of curious in what your view of that is.
But I've never thought about that actually. Yeah, I would think that my thoughts are that we're not destined to, if this planet at whatever time or wherever it, whenever it would happen, if it were to ever die off, I don't think that we're destined to die off with it. Um, I would think the majority of us would, but I would think that, my entire thoughts are that we would have some kind of satellite cities, satellite, those types of things. Um, I don't know what my thoughts are about that, including living on the moon, so to speak. Um, Unless we needed I don't know, because I think that would be a satellite city. I don't think it would be on another. vehicle that didn't have anything to really offer us, because we'd be making that up anyway. So I have this infatuation with the moon. I love the moon and the stars, and I love the sun, but not nearly um like the moon. And it's funny, Harry and I always, he never sees the man in the moon. Do do you see it? Do you
Occasionally.
see the man in
Uh,
the moon?
yeah, it depends on how much I drink that night. But anyway.
Oh, see, I see the man in, oh, the man in the moon all the time, because it's like this. It's like the moon's like this, and it goes, oh, like
Oh.
I don't know. But so I constantly see the man in the moon, and Harry's always like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well,
I
it's
don't
like
get
these
it.
constellations, if you connect these dots, you see a scorpion
I
stagging a bull who's
yeah,
running
yeah.
down the streets of Spain. Can't you see it?
Can't you see it? I know, but I do see all of those things. Um, so I really love it. Um, like we were the people that went out to see Haley's Comet back in, when was that?
And I think 1980s
In the 80s,
something.
in the
Yeah.
early 80s or something. Yeah, so I mean, we went out and saw, we went to a really, really dark spot and saw Haley's Comet. And um, so that, I mean, I love anything that has to do with the constellations or with the moon or, with the universe in general. Um, I wholeheartedly believe that we weren't the first here, we won't be the last. And whether we, where we end up at, I I don't know. But I think, even if something happened to Earth, we would end up somewhere. Something would take place. Um, I don't know if it's a whole Star Wars type thing or but I definitely believe that we're intelligent enough that will continue.
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting to think about the progression of technology. I mean, 100 years ago, the idea of buying a ticket from Houston and going to Sydney, Australia within the next 24
Crazy.
hours, crazy. But now you do it. You're just like, sure, let's
Right.
go.
Right.
Or even the iPhone. I mean, just think about this 20 years ago. I mean,
Mm-mm.
20 years ago, we were still trying to get Wi-Fi to work.
Right. And I remember, well, with my dogs, with the Leonbergers, um, when I started researching them, the only way to do that was by going to the library. You went to the library and you checked out books, and it was whatever somebody had written, and was published. And that's how you found out about different things. Or you were looking at microfiche from newspapers, from however long ago, but you didn't have any access to so much information ever. Um, and the first time, because I had to drive from Spring to Exxon Chemical in Baytown. And so I drove 100 miles every day to go to work.
Wow. How
Yeah.
long did you do this for?
Yeah. For almost 2 years.
It's a lot of time. I mean, 100
It's a
miles. I mean,
lot of
that's like
time.
2 hours each way, 4 hours a
Oh,
day, and
oh
that's
yeah.
without traffic.
Right, right, right. And but I remember thinking, I've got to I broke down on 610 one time and had to get off on a bridge on the east side of 610
Hmm.
on the North Loop, and it was not safe at all. Um, And so we were like, I got to do something. We've got to do something. And I think they had just come out with the bag phone that you could put in your console. And I think you plugged it in to your car or something. But so I had a bag phone.
This is in
And
the early 90s,
no, it had to have been in the 80s,
the late 80s.
the late 80s. Like we're talking initial, like literally if somebody called, you would pick it up and there was this long cord that was attached
I
to
know,
it.
I know.
It would be talking.
Because I remember seeing one at some point. I don't remember the version, but I mean, it was essentially like the same telephone that you had
At
hooked up to the
home.
wall, except you had the.
Except it was there and you could pick it up.
People would be like, "What's the box for?" You know?
Uh-oh, you friend. There you go.
Yeah, but people
What's
would be
the
like, "What's the box for? Why do you have this
It was
cord?"
crazy. It was crazy.
You're like, "That's the security system.
I
That's so
don't
nobody would steal it."
know. But it was
We get
it
to
was
hook one up
it
to
was
our
nuts.
iPhones just
Yes,
to.
yes, yes. Do you remember? Okay, so when we worked at Compact, when we started working at Compact, um, the phones that we had, the portable phones for work were like this big, and they were this thick, and they were pretty thin, like maybe like that, but you were, you were like this. Or the ones with the antennas, you'd pull up the antenna and you'd be like, oh.
Our the great accessory that you had to get, which was the little cradle that you attach to the headset, so you could do like this
So you could talk and type.
and type. Yeah,
Oh, and you were really cool if you got the amber screen instead of the green
the green
screen.
screen. Oh my goodness,
That
yes.
was hoity-toity.
And screensavers were actually needed.
Yeah, they were, but we didn't have them. I don't think. I don't remember having a screensaver on that thing. I don't know. It was just something that moved around.
Hmm.
I can't write. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That way you wouldn't get the burn in
Because
after.
you would.
It's yeah,
It's amazing the leaps and bounds technology has made from when we were born to now. And to think that people actually lived here without air conditioning is crazy. I
right.
don't even. I think Harry read somewhere it said that Houston was something about it was hell, and the only people. What was it, read? What was it you read? That
No, it was Galveston.
Galveston was what?
No, it was
Only people from hell live there?
It was Galveston. It was not fit for humanity, not humanity, but not fit for living, basically.
Yeah, not fit for living. By man nor beast.
But it was dug up in a fossil, not fossil, an archaeology dig of when they were doing someone had done this company, archaeology company, one of these things I used to go to, they have speakers, and they had a guy that worked for archaeology, and he gets called in on projects like where they start to build a building and they find graves or something like that. And this was something done in Galveston, and they dug up some records from when Galveston was by the French, and they found this record where it was a letter that was to be sent back that said that this land is not inhabitable by man or beast.
Not enough. No one would ever live here. There's no reason.
Definitely his career in real estate would be very short.
His career in real estate would be really very short. I know. He's like, I wonder if he was here like in July.
Well, it's like
Like, we're
going
out of
to
here.
Minneapolis in the winter months. I'm
Yeah, yeah. In Chicago, it's the
Chicago.
worst. If you've
Absolutely.
ever been to Chicago in the coldest, windiest months, I mean, like just going from building to building, you think you're going to die, as if you exited a space system and your mask cracked. Like you're just gonna freeze that quickly.
Yeah, I think I went to Minneapolis one time in like January or December, and it was so cold outside that my body didn't even register the coldness. Like it was like beyond the ability to sense it. It was that
Right?
cold.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The pain is unbelievable. I mean, you're like beyond pain from the cold. I can't feel it anymore. I'm numb.
But after seeing so much progress in technology, I'm just wondering why we don't look to it as being more and more of the solutions uh, to our problems in the world. I mean, there's some people that think that the next wars are going to be fought over water, which doesn't make sense to me because we have plenty of water. We just need clean water, right? We just
Right.
need the ability to filter it. And that seems like doable to be able
Yeah.
to filter water in a way.
Well, yeah. And there's even little systems that you can purchase that will turn salt water into, you know, drinkable water. It's just that everybody stranded at sea doesn't ever happen to have one of those. It's unfortunate. But yeah, yeah. Well, it's so they think there's going to be a war over water.
I just heard that from a friend who
Uh-huh.
said he heard it from a commentator who probably uh, anyway. So the chain
Yeah.
of evidence is pretty thin, but it's just like yeah, I mean, water, food, energy. I mean, all these things
Mm,
we can have in abundance. I mean, there's really no
right.
reason why we have scarcity. It doesn't.
There isn't. No, it's everywhere. If it's not, don't live there. I don't know. Um, yeah, but uh, COVID put a little bit of glimpse of that into how quickly people make resources scarce.
Oh, you're talking about toilet tissue.
Yeah, or anything really. I
I have two
mean,
Japanese toilets, so haha.
we don't need it. No. But and because it's not just that. Look at the repercussions from people being able to work. People we're building a new house and we're reaping those repercussions for lumber, for for things that we do have an abundance of, but maybe not the supply or the processing of it that's been needed. Because the whole like limit to meat, because what was it? You could only purchase like like one thing of beef or I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. But wasn't there a limit to what you could even get? Um,
I don't remember. I
like
mean,
I know my friend Julie was telling me, she used to always say, get some bacon, because she could only get one thing of bacon at her Costco or whatever. And like you could only buy 1 or 3 packages of meat. And then they would have to say what constituted as a package of meat. But I think it was at the regular grocery stores too. So it wasn't just it was they were limiting what you were available to buy because everybody everybody was hoarding.
yeah. And then so there's apparently this one guy who bought like thousands of rolls of toilet paper, and then afterwards he tries to go and return it. The store is like, nope, keep it.
No, right. What are you going to do with that now?
Yeah.
But you know, it's yeah, people get nuts. And why toilet paper? I have no idea. I have no idea. I get the cleaning thing. I get that because you want to clean, but you know, like the alcohol or what. Oh, one of my puppy people. So she is an amputee and she doesn't have a leg. Well, apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently, when you have a prosthetic that goes on, one of the most important steps to putting the prosthetic on, which you do on a daily basis at least, or multiple times a day, depending on what you do, if you swim or you know, whatever, because she has different prosthetics for different things. And she has to use what's the word? Iso, is, isopropyl. Oh, whatever. She has
Rubbing
to
alcohol?
use. Yeah. There you go. That too. She has to use rubbing alcohol, but it has to be at least 70% or something like that. But there was a mad dash or mad run on all of that kind of stuff because people, first of all, they couldn't buy it. And so then they would, or their sanitizers or whatever. And so then they would make it. Well, then the only way to make it, I guess, is with that. Well, you know, I remember her reaching out on Facebook saying, please, people, stop hoarding this. I get it that you need to clean your hands, but I can't wear my prosthetic unless I have it.
Mm.
And I had no idea. So anyway, of course, you know, everybody was outreaching to her and that nature. So that was really good. But you know, it's kind of like anything in the environment where they try to make a resolution by bringing in something that should never have been brought in, and it causes more trouble than just figuring it out, or what, you know what I mean? Like what was that algae? There was some algae that they brought in to get rid of something, and it ended up taking over. And then so much of the sea life was compromised, or didn't do well in it, and it ended up causing more problems than not. Or different IVs. There's one in Georgia, I think, that they brought in to do something. It's usually when they take something from somewhere and they bring it in somewhere else to eliminate a problem, an environmental problem, and then they're surprised when it causes some other big environmental problem. Um, you know, it's like fire ants. They eventually, well, I can't remember how they originated or got here, but like the northern states, I still don't think they have fire ants yet. But the fire ants end up like, what is it? Deer, their uh, their saving mechanism. It's not saving. Their defense mechanism is to stay still, like a fawn, is to stay still. So what a fire ant does is, you know how it seems like they all get on you at once and then they say bite.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But so what they do is they go for any moisture areas. So the fawn is still, and they all go for the nose and the eyes,
Ouch.
and they end up killing it
That's
in no time. Yeah.
really painful.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. You think you're doing the right thing and you end up dying. But yeah, so I mean things, and what is it now? Those big bees, big,
Oh, the killer bees?
well, there's killer bees, but there's
Oh,
another one.
the killer hornets?
They're like, yeah, they're like the size of your hand or something. I mean, they're huge. They're really big. Um, something hornets. Is it warrior? No,
Hmm.
oh, it's not it.
Murder hornets.
So, yeah. I think that's it. No, I was close. Warrior. But yeah. So somebody brought them in from, I don't know, Japan or something. I don't know where I don't, I'm completely making that up. I have no idea where they came from. But they brought them in to study or do something with, and then something got loose. And the same with the killer bees. I think somebody brought them in, so they got loose, something happened. I don't know. Or the Africanized bees. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Um, well, it sounds like from our previous part of the conversation that you're supportive of us going back to the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that aren't, that think,
Oh.
we have the pandemic and global climate change and, you know, poverty and social injustice and all these other things. And why are we spending money to send people to the moon, or we have this? And I was just wondering, how do you think about that?
I don't think it's an either or situation. I think it's an and. I would never say that those other things aren't important, but it's not. Because it brings so much that we don't know about yet. But I think without the exploration of space and the exploration of anything, how do we advance ourselves? Exploration and figuring out something new is just as important as figuring out how to solve an issue that we have right now, because that may lead to that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, especially the and part. I mean, the first time I went to the moon, the population of the Earth was half of what it is now. That's twice the number of brains that are even better connected than they were before, with more access to information.
Mm-hmm.
Just this idea that it just feels like that there's kind of a sense of helplessness, or the sense that other people should make the world better for me type of attitude.
Yeah, and I just don't think that, well, it would be kind of like telling your children what they were allowed to study and what they weren't. Would you do that?
Um, well, I
Or
haven't
what
been
they
able
what
to so
or
far.
what, yeah, I know. I haven't been able to so far. It doesn't work. But it's like, well, what do you want to be interested in? Oh, well, we're going to tell you what you're going to be interested in because
Hmm.
you're smart. And so we're going to tell you. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Um, so if somebody has the ability to give us further advancement in this area, great. If somebody else has, the ability to give us further advancement in somewhere else, great. I don't see why either one has to be competing for the other. Because there's plenty of brain resources to look at all of that.
Hmm.
And there's going to be money interested in this, and then there's going to be money interested in this. Why do you think we have so many charities? Nobody came back and said, oh, well, no, I can't, I can't have a charity because there's already so many out there. Nobody ever thought that. They think that their charity is the one that you should contribute to. And that's the way you should always think if it's your charity or if it's your, whatever. But it doesn't mean that it's, it's like we have St. Jude's and we have ASPCA. Well, people get to pick.
Absolutely.
I don't know. And if you tell either one that one's more important than the other, they're not gonna, they're gonna argue to the nth degree why. So it's okay. The only thing
Absolutely.
I don't agree with are people that think that the earth is flat or with flatlanders, flat whatever.
I think you should see more and more people who actually see Earth from above. The, I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's no, uh,
There's no basis.
I mean, I think that's like, people crying out for attention type of thing.
I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for it, but
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I'm all for it. I agree.
If it was safe and affordable, would you go to space?
Um, I would probably, if it was safe, affordable, and necessary, sure. I'm extremely claustrophobic, which would be my biggest fear. Like, I'm not even really sure. For instance, I can snorkel, and in fact, in college, I taught a scuba diving class, but in a pool. I don't know that I could, like, I had a really hard time flying to Hawaii because, well, the trip over, I was fine because I was so tired and from packing and, getting ready and that sort of thing. But the trip back, I was completely awake and felt like a child who wanted to run up and down the aisle screaming, we're in a coffin, we're in a coffin, we're in a coffin over the sea. And I don't know why I think I could save myself over land. But, it was like, find a happy place, find a happy place. So I I don't know if I could mentally do it, but if it became a thing, like I wouldn't want to be the first or something like that. But as far as, exploding or something, none of that would bother me. That's not, because this stuff can happen anywhere. I can get in a head-on collision. I can get in a hit by a truck. I can get, do you know what I mean? It's like when it's your time, it's your time. And I don't think it matters that you're in a space capsule that's going to explode, or if you're on a highway and get hit by an 18-wheeler. So that part doesn't bother me. It's just the whole claustrophobic feeling of it. If I could somehow get over that, it would be neat. It would be very interesting. I would almost like it more from a perspective of looking back on the earth. I think that's really awesome. I really like that.
There's this company in Florida that called Space Perspective. They're going to have a capsule that will hold 9 people, 8 passengers and a pilot, have a bathroom on it and a bar, and it has a big hydrogen balloon that'll take you up to 100,000 feet. From that altitude, you can see the curvature of the earth, the blackness of space. You spend 2 hours
Wow.
getting up to altitude, then you're up there for 2 hours, and then you come back down for another 2 hours, land in the ocean, and the boat comes and picks you up.
Do they do that now?
In the next few years, they plan to.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean
And then it's kind of like a little intro.
it's a little intro, but I mean it's probably just as maybe it's a little less claustrophobic than the plane. Definitely
Yeah.
way less claustrophobic than those space capsules.
Yes.
And
Yeah, that's what would probably bother me. Like I can't. One time I went up in the St. Louis Arch. Have you ever done that?
I have not. Scary?
Very, very scary. I don't have a problem with heights. Heights are fine. They literally put you in this little like egg capsule, and I think it's 2 people on one side and 2 people on the other, and you're like this, and you're riding it in the dark. I don't remember there being any light. It could have been because my eyes were closed and I was crying. I don't know.
You're like, it was dark and rainy, or my eyes were closed and crying. I don't know which.
I don't know. But we got up to the top, and I was like, okay, well, I'm good. We'll just stay up here. I did not want to go back down because I didn't want to get in that thing and ride back down. That was my nemesis, was that. Not being up there was fine. Anyway.
So they have an observation deck in the middle that you go to, and you're right there, because
so it's like if the arch is like this, you go up one side like that and you get out. It's kind of like an elevator type thing, but not. You get out, and they even have this thing where you can lean out over the side and the glass goes like that, and you can. It's really cool. I like all of that. That's neat up there. So then it's a whole observation deck like that, and then you ride down on the other side. Yeah.
I've never ridden that. I've always wondered how that was. I mean, does like the little compartment you're in like change orientation as you go across? How's that work?
I don't know. I mean, like if it's like an egg that goes up like this, do you know what I mean? Like that. I was really so scared. There was only one time, back in the day when we used to all wear suits to work, and I worked for Mobil Oil headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. And so I've got my suit on and my hose and my heels, and and in the elevator with all these executives that we just had a meeting with. And I don't know where we were, but the elevator stopped and we bounced down like one floor. I don't even know how much we did, but I was like grabbing onto, I was that person grabbing onto people screaming. Yeah. Yeah. It was not a finer moment for sure. But yeah, so that's my only, it's like going down in a submarine or something. Like I don't think I could do that. I don't, but I can go on a boat. I can do that. I don't have any problem with being in the water. It's the
Claustrophobic. It
it's
was
the
a
don't, I want to be
huge
in
submarine.
control.
Oh, there's
I
that
don't
too.
know. Yeah,
Hmm.
I want to be in control of it. It's really hard for me on a plane, but I can do it. I can get over it.
Do you really want to be the person behind the controls? I just wonder.
I do.
You do.
I do. I do.
I'm taking flying lessons right now. I went flying
You get
last
it hooked?
Friday.
At
Uh-huh.
hook
Yeah.
every Friday? Do you go every Friday?
Well, I was going like 2 or 3 times a week before the whole pandemic lockdown
Oh yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah.
So I took like a
Yeah.
14-month break. So last Friday is my first time back. I mean, I go there, I'm wearing the mask, because I don't know what the setup is, and nobody there is wearing a mask. I think from their standpoint, you're about to go in a plane with an
Who
untrained
cares?
person. You're like, I think your chances of dying are greater than 2% with that. So
Well, how many hours do you have?
I think close to 20. But
How many do you have to have to get your pilot's license?
well, I mean the minimum's 40.
Okay.
But I'm gonna be like maybe 100, 200 hour private pilot person. I am no rush,
Right. No. I was just gonna say 40 is kind of scary.
It is. 40 is scary. Anybody who's done it in 40,
I don't want to be with them.
well, I mean, to fly commercially, I think you need 1,500.
Okay.
So to be able to transport people commercially, you need like quite a lot.
Quite
In
a
fact,
lot.
in order to get those hours, whenever I'm flying, the trainer's getting counted. Those
Oh.
count for him too. So
Oh,
that's how
gotcha.
a lot of them get
That's how
their
they
hours.
get that many hours.
Exactly. And still
Okay.
afford lunch and dinner.
Right. Yeah. Or they're in the Air Force or the military or some kind of means in which they can do that. That's a lot of hours.
It is. It is. And I have my previous flight instructor, he's moved up to Dallas since the time I stopped taking lessons and started. But he was telling me about one story about a flight instructor. As soon as they got that 1,500 mark, they're like, got to go back to the airport. That's it. Because you don't want to get to that point and then have an accident that disqualifies you from getting into the.
No.
Like there's no value in having 1,501.
No, there's not. No, there's not. And you want to make sure you're okay before that point. I know with my my cousin is a pilot and they have to fly so many, like even when they're put on furlough, not furlough, but or when there weren't as many flights going on and stuff like that, they still have to fly so many hours per month. And I was like, yeah, well, that's a good thing because I don't want to be up in the air with somebody who hasn't,
Yeah.
been behind the wheel in 3 months.
I know. I think in order to be safe, I mean, I feel like I need to be able to fly like, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 hours a week. Just to
Keep
stay
it
on
up.
top of everything, right?
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Wendy, I really appreciate your time. I know we covered a lot. Is there anything that you wanted
We
to talk
did.
about that we didn't get to?
Um, No, just that we need to get together.
Absolutely. We need to play Catan.
I know. What are you guys doing with you? Have you gotten your shots, or what is your
Yes,
belief on that?
everybody in the house is fully vaccinated.
Okay.
So we're all good.
Harry's had his first one, and he had no reaction. Did you guys have any reaction?
The second one was horrible. 8 hours, everything was fine and perfect. Then at the 8 hour mark, felt like I got like the flu, like you wouldn't believe. And then the
Yeah.
next 24 hours were forget it. It was awful, awful.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, yeah, that was
That's
good.
which one did you get?
The Moderna.
Okay. I got Pfizer at Pfizer. And the first shot for me was like that. And then the second shot, I was sick for 5 days.
Hmm.
But it affects everybody differently. So I've had plenty of friends that nothing, either shot, nothing.
Yeah, I know. Both of my sons were in drug studies.
Yeah.
So they got the vaccine or vaccine or a placebo early on. Turns out they both got the vaccine, and
Oh,
my
good.
oldest one, he had no reaction whatsoever, and my youngest one, he and youngest being like 18,
Yeah.
he got like his gums hurt and he felt sick and it's bad. So we felt very certain that one of them got the vaccine, the other one got the placebo, but
Oh,
turns out they both
but
got
they
the
both
vaccine.
did.
They both got it.
Wow. Did they get different ones, or
It
did
was
they get the
different
same
ones.
one?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the one that didn't have the reaction got the AstraZeneca one, and the one
Uh-huh.
that had the reaction got the Pfizer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Harry just got the Pfizer, and he didn't have anything. No reaction. So all I know is that for me, it was like, reaction, whatever. But then one day you wake up and it's as if nothing was wrong. Nothing. It's not like when you have a cold or when you're sick and you start feeling a little better and a little bit. It was like all or nothing for me. It
Hmm.
was. It's like I could tell immediately when I'd wake up. Well, actually, through the night it would be bad, but then I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, oh my God, I feel like crap. And then one day you just wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's gonna be a good day. But yeah, we definitely need to play Catan if I remember how to
And we
play.
got a pool table now, so if y'all still have a
Oh
pool
yeah.
table, y'all can come over sometime. We have a foosball table, ping pong table. We
Oh,
have a tonal
I know the
exercise
ping pong
machine.
table. Okay, a what exercise?
Uh, it's called tonal. It goes on your wall, and it has like digital weights essentially. It's
Oh, nice.
kind of interesting.
That is
I'm
interesting.
trying to think of what else we have here. That's pretty much it in
Yeah.
terms of so.
Are the
But I love
parents
it.
doing good? Are the parents doing okay?
Uh, yeah, they're doing okay. The past year has been really different. My stepmother died from cancer, and then my dad and my mom got married.
What? Well,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah. So that's been kind of
It's
interesting.
nice.
Yeah,
It's interesting because that's kind of what it comes back to.
yeah. Hmm. I mean, the good thing is the number of parental visits I need to do has been reduced to half. So.
Right. I know.
There's that's good.
That's good.
But yeah. And oh, my youngest son, he applied to colleges.
Christopher,
And
right? No.
Christopher,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's right. He applied to like 20 colleges. I think he
Probably
got
got accepted to all of them. Why did you let him
no.
apply to 20?
No, he didn't get accepted to all of them. In fact, let's see, if I remember right, he got rejected from 16,
Oh my God.
waitlisted for 2, auto accepted for 1, which was UT Austin. And then
Okay, nice,
the 20th one that he got was actually Cornell. So that's what he's really excited about.
good.
So we're going to go up to
That's out of
Ithaca.
state.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice at this time of year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to Ithaca. Um, what does he want to study?
He thinks he wants to go do computer science at like one of these kind of trading firms. So
Okay,
I mean, I mean, the thing I like about Cornell as I learn more and more about it is they allow for you to study any combination of courses that you want. So a lot of schools, if you're want to take classes in a particular college, you need to be part of that college.
right.
So Cornell is not that way. People can study whatever combination stuff they want. So that seems kind of a neat thing.
But then how do they determine what goes towards your degree?
Oh, I'm sure they have minimum requirements in terms of
Okay,
you need to have like a history class, but you could choose to take history of fashion design
okay,
and you need to
cool.
take a science
Right,
class, but you could take like how to
whichever
grow
one.
trees or something. I don't know.
Right. Oh,
So
that's cool.
I'm not exactly sure. I'm hoping they have a really good advising team that will
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
help us
mm-hmm.
help us through that.
So now, is all of it financially fine?
We're paying for the whole thing out of pocket, so
Mm.
um,
So you're gonna
it's
have to take out a loan because it's out of
no,
state? Okay,
no.
okay, okay, good,
Um, Luckily, Anaplan turned out to be a really good
good,
financial move.
good, 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 good. That's the only thing that I would say, like with Connor, we're gonna be paying for him forever, forever.
Well, or
Um,
not. I think about the student loan forgiveness. Everybody
I
should go to
know
some debt.
it could just go away. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But and it's because with what he wanted to do, you can't just go anywhere. First of all, like you said, you got to go where they accept you,
Yes. That turns out to be a lot
and
smaller
that
thing than you thought.
that's a big thing. Well, and I only let Connor apply to 10, and he got accepted to 8. But the 2 that he didn't get accepted to was Texas State and Oklahoma. So Oklahoma, he could have lived with our cousin. I mean, it would have been really, really good, really nice. But there's only certain colleges that do musical theater. So you don't have a whole lot of choice. And then he got it, like you said, don't get accepted to these other ones. And then all of a sudden he gets accepted to Penn State, which is top 5 for musical theater for the last, I don't know, 40 years. And that's all he wants to do for his entire life. Well, how can you say no? You've got to figure out a way to do it. But if he had wanted to do anything else, I would have been like, well, you know what? They offer that in Texas because they do.
Yeah.
And and therefore it's cheap, it's cheaper, there's so many more options at play. But yeah, NCAA was the way to go because then they get wine dined. Do you know with NCAA, with the other 2 boys, you don't even fill out an application until they sign.
Hmm.
So even though they went out for, or college, I don't know even if 10 colleges or whatever were vying for them, they would invite them out. They do a whole football weekend. They pay for Harry to stay in a hotel. They pay for all of their room and board, food, all of that. And then I forget whatever date it was for signing. And on that date, then you sign with the college, and then you happen to go ahead and fill out the application and put it in. Because each one of those applications is a couple $100.
Yeah.
So like for Connor, it was the opposite way. You fill out the application, you get accepted by the college,
And then do
then
audition.
then you go and do your auditions and everything. So anyway, it was nice going the NCAA route. That's why anybody who has little kids now, I'm like, athletics, get them in something.
Well, and you know, one of our friends, they got their son into fencing, and they
How
went
fun is
all
that?
around the US and around the
Yeah.
world doing fencing, and he's like ranked, I think, in like the top 5 in the US or something like that, and he got accepted into Harvard.
Oh my God. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, and then it's a full ride.
Yeah.
And they get paid. Like Harrison at USC and at ASU, they not only get paid for all of it and all their books and everything else like that, but then he also got like a $1,400 a month stipend. For
That's
what?
and plus then they have extra tutoring services,
Oh,
and
everything.
you know, they get special
Everything.
you know, a
They get
dispensation.
babysat. They
Yes.
get babysat.
It's definitely a really kind of mixed up how it all
It
is.
is. It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. But no, I don't have anything else except we need to get together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
house is less than lackluster. You probably are seeing these because we're in a rental right now. So this rental is being used as our storage for all of our stuff.
Hmm.
So like I can't go upstairs anyway, but all the upstairs is storage. Every closet, the entire garage, everything is boxes and storage. So we have like literally 6 plates and 5 cups, and we have a living room and the kitchen and our master bedroom and 4 dogs.
Wow.
So
That's amazing you're able to find a landlord that would accept the 4 dogs.
that was so hard. No, well, see, because 2 of them are because I have the one service dog, Ziva, and then so we had 3 dogs going into looking for a home, and I really didn't, or looking for a rental place, and I really didn't think it would be that big of a deal. But it's huge. So really, they can't count the service dog. So we had 2 dogs, just 2 dogs. Hardly anybody would rent to us. We had to interview with the dogs. And we were like, they do nothing. And plus, especially since, they're 6, 7, and 8 years old. So they really do nothing. They're just, right now, they're just laying down. I mean, well, like you guys know, when you came over, when they come out, it's kind of like a little gentle mauling for about 3 minutes. And then everybody's like, whoo, okay, I'm tired.
We said our
they,
hellos.
and we said our hellos. Oh, I can't do it anymore. And that's it. They're done. But they do less damage than little dogs. But even if you had little dogs or cats or anything, it's really hard to rent anywhere. So, but our landlords here are awesome. They're great. We back up to a bayou in the Woodlands, close to 45. I like the front part of the Woodlands. Our cul-de-sac is great. It's a really awesome place to be at, aside from the fact that our home is about 45 years old.
But whenever I was in New Hampshire, I lived in a house that was built in 1905.
See, that's cool though.
Oh, okay. It's so
Not not this one.
so in
Not
another
the
60 years,
not,
this would
not
be
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
What it is this is a home that was built in what's like 45, like 80s, 70s, or what,
Hmm.
70s, 80s, or whatever, when it was built. And you can tell that it was a very modern style home for back then. Like it's got those, the straight angles and like that, you know what I mean, with windows up here, and it's skylights, and but there's no lights, there's no fans, there's Harry can touch the ceiling in the kitchen. Harry
Hmm.
can reach up and touch the ceiling.
So really low ceilings.
Yeah, except where there's no lights and there's a skylight.
Then really high.
Yeah. So it's fine. I really like it. I do like it. It's not where I would want to live forever, but it's really cool. I think it's cool.
Well, we'll have to come check it out and see your new place that you're building too.
Yeah, it's awesome. I am just so excited. But lumber prices have gone through the roof. So, but we're, so we have the slab poured. We have a muddy cam, a trail cam, game cam, or whatever, game cam out on the property so that we can watch activity as they're building it.
You're like, that guy should use 3 nails. Hello.
Hello, stop it.
Hey, you didn't get that one in all the way. Doesn't look level to me.
Well, we've already been through that. When they laid the foundation, we're like, I don't think this is level. I don't think when they put the it's not framing, but it's whatever the boards are that they put up that they're going to lay the foundation in.
Okay.
And we were like, this isn't level. It doesn't seem level. But it's of course because, the street outside our house isn't level, but that's level. So it kind of gives this illusion. They were like, no, trust me, it's level.
You're out there with the little bubbles. No.
They're going, see? I know. We were like, okay, yeah, we believe you.
Well, good deal. Well, yeah, we'll have to get together. We'll have to see what your maybe second weekend in May might be good.
Oh, and Harry's doing really well with this little, he's got another business that he's doing on the side. I mean, it's not replacing work. But he does something called Harry's Back Porch. Has he told you about that? And he sells, so it's actually harrysbackporch.com. And he sells wind chime, anything you would have in your backyard or back porch, like wind chimes, weather instruments, flags, spinners, like, because he loves that stuff. And he actually just sat there one day thinking, I want to do something. What do I love? And then he said, well, I really like making pickles. And then he thought, well, I don't want to be making pickles all the time. And then he was like, what else do I love? I really like wind chimes. Maybe I could do like back porch stuff. Anyway.
And telescopes, to be able to look at the stars and stuff.
He could do that.
And bird feeders and bird watching equipment.
He's got bird feeders, and like You don't? Bird houses, sorry. Bird houses. But he's thought about like hummingbird feeders. Anyway, yeah, just a bunch of stuff.
I'll have to check it out. Does he buy and resell, or does he make, or how does it work?
No, he buys and
Buys.
resell.
Okay.
He's thought about making, there's these, I don't know if you've ever seen them, these little picnic tables. They're really small that you can hook up to your fence or hammer them into your fence or whatever, and you can put nuts on them for squirrels. So the squirrels end up sitting on the ends of the picnic table and eating off of the table. It's cute. But anyway, we do have a lot of squirrels that we feed here. So that's fun. Yeah. And moles, one of the dogs likes to kill moles. That's not. She'll be out in the backyard flipping it up in the air. I'm like, put it down, put it down. She gets her teeth brushed all the time. I've never brushed any of my other dog's teeth, but hers, as soon as she comes in,
You're like, you're getting brushed.
and I'm like, come on, let's go brush your teeth. You're getting your teeth brushed because that's not happening. But anyway, so he's gone a lot of weekends to do that kind of stuff. I don't think we have the second weekend in May. He's gone a lot. What's your next event? See, he's gone in Canton. He's gone.
Oh, so these are like places where he sets up a booth to sell? Okay.
Yeah, if you look up
Harry's back porch.
yeah, I'll shot it. It's basic, and he has a Facebook. And it's, I don't know, on Facebook it's just the second one. And the one on Facebook, he's done some videos of like his little setup. But he has two retail places and a third one coming up in Katy. He's got one in Sugar Land, one in Champions, and one coming up in Katy. So, and how he works is, it's a place called the Painted Tree. And the Painted Tree only has it's like finer stores or vendors in their store. And so he has like a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20 spot in there. And then it's kind of cool if you go to one, like go to the one in the Champions that's pretty close.
Now, do they provide all the labor and the checkout and that type of thing? You just set up the place and put your tags on it?
Right.
That's pretty neat. So it's like it's basically like a consignment shop type of thing.
Kinda. Except you have your section.
You have your section.
Like,
store within a store.
It's a store within a store, exactly. And then they have to, well, I guess consignment place, they have to approve you for whatever stuff you have too. I mean, they don't just take anything. We've learned no one will take a China hutch. No one. If you have a China hutch, it's yours for life. Unless you repurpose it as something, or your children happen to want it, which our kids don't want anything of ours. And you can't burn it because it's treated, so you'll die from the fumes. There's really nothing you can do with it. Yeah, we were surprised a consignment shop won't even take that. They'll take table and chairs, like dining room table, chairs, that kind of stuff, but not China stuff, not not those. Because they say they can't sell them, so they won't take them.
That
But
makes sense. Well, I
mhm.
better let you go. I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
run
yeah.
to it too.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. That's the name of the other. That's the name of the other place is Painted Tree.
I found them. They look really
Okay,
neat.
it's
Okay,
cool.
it
It's
is
cool
cool.
stuff. Everybody's. All right, I'll talk to you later, Nathan.
Bye bye,
Okay,
Wendy.
bye. Bye.